Maintaining a healthy weight has quickly become one of the hardest health challenges of our time. Obesity is at an all-time high, and despite all the diets, gyms, and cutting-edge weight loss advice, there is no sign of improvement. But people are trying to lose weight. They cut calories and exercise harder, and when these fail, they turn to weight loss drugs like Ozempic, which we know are neither safe or effective long-term. So the real question is, why is it so hard to lose weight naturally? Well, I don't think the problem is about willpower, calories, or bad genes, but we've all heard the same story. People are overweight because they eat too much and they move too little. Turns out, when you actually look at the data and understand what fat tissue really does, that story completely falls apart. Historically, body fat was a survival tool. It stored energy during times of famine. But in our modern world, fat storage has taken on a different role, one that almost no one is talking about. What if fat gain wasn't the problem, but the body's solution? In this video, I'm going to break down what I believe is the real driver of our obesity epidemic, why it's so difficult to lose weight, and effective ways to achieve lasting and healthy weight loss. My name's Austin Higgs, and this is The Art of Optimal Living, where I expose health and medical dogma and help you naturally optimize your health. As always, this is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. The conventional weight loss dogma that we've all heard is to eat less and move more. You need to burn more calories than you're putting in your mouth. Weight loss influencers, even doctors, spam this calories in, calories out narrative. But when you actually look at the data, it turns out this is not causing obesity. Food consumption is difficult to track, and most rely on total food available. But some estimations show a decrease in total food consumption. For example, in this China study, they found that the food energy intakes showed a downward trend in the past 30 years. Granted, there is conflicting results because it is difficult to track, but it's safe to say that food consumption is not the culprit of our obesity problem. Now, with respect to physical activity, it's often thought that our transition from labor-intensive jobs to more sedentary office jobs has caused a massive decrease in physical activity, and this is contributing to our weight gain problem. But according to the data, this is not the case either. There's many surveys that show that physical activity has actually been increasing in the last several decades. The final scapegoat that doctors and scientists often use is genetics. They say that obesity is caused by bad genes, and there's really nothing you can do about it but take weight loss drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy. Now, this is just absurd. First off, genetics are not what you think they are, and they definitely don't control you. Genes are fictitious, computer-generated sequences of letters that have no impact on your health or physiology. But even if you were to buy the genetic story, the rapid increase in obesity has happened too quickly for a gene pool shift to explain it. So what's really going on and driving our obesity epidemic? Well, again, historically, we stored fat as fuel for times of starvation and low food. It was a survival tool. But today, these mechanisms have changed and I think now serve a more protective role. So what's really going on? Well, I'd like to bring up two papers. One's called Chemical Toxins, a Hypothesis to Explain the Obesity Epidemic, and the other one is called Adipose Tissue as a Site of Toxin Accumulation. And both of these are very thorough and explain the role that toxins play in obesity and weight gain. The toxins they specifically talk about in these two papers are called persistent organic pollutants, or POPs, and they're often referred to as obesogens because of their weight-inducing effect. So as you can see, there is a very strong correlation between synthetic chemicals and obesity, which this paper points out. Now, this is associational, and we cannot draw conclusions from this, but it's very important to consider. Now, you've probably heard of a lot of these POPs. A few examples are things like PCBs, PBBs, dioxins, DDT, DDE, BPA, and there's many, many more. So these chemicals are lipophilic or fat-loving, meaning they dissolve and are stored in fat. They're very resistant to degradation, and are able to persist in the environment and in our bodies, this allows them to bioaccumulate and biomagnify up the food chain. Most POPs were banned years ago, like the pesticide DDT and DDE. However, due to their resistance to degradation, they persist very much in our environment, and we are exposed to them everywhere. They're in our food, our water, and even our air. Authors of this paper even said there's no true reference population with zero POP exposure. So where are we commonly exposed to these POPs? Well, they're in pesticides and herbicides. So they're in non-organic produce and animal foods. They're in animal fat. They're used in lots of processed food and food preservatives, food coloring, other food additives. They're in seed oils, lots of cookware, flame retardants, synthetic clothing and furniture is a big source. They're in a lot of personal hygiene and beauty products, perfume, air pollution, and they are in prescribed and over-the-counter pharmaceuticals, which is a huge source. They've even been found in utero and breast milk, which is especially scary to think about. How do these chemicals cause weight gain? Well, there's a few reasons that they're thought to induce weight gain, and I think the most obvious and primary one is as a protective mechanism. The body is very intelligent. Most, if not all, of the symptoms you experience are the body trying to heal and responding to things in the environment that are causing damage. So I think that we store these toxins in fat as a protective mechanism. The authors of this study said that the accumulation of POPs within adipose tissue is believed to decrease their availability to other cells and tissues, thereby limiting their systemic toxicity. Experimental evidence supports such a protective function for AT. Studies conducted in the 1980s and 90s showed an inverse correlation between POP's toxicity and fat mass of different animal species. Essentially, the more fat an animal was able to put on, the more they were able to withstand the toxic effects of POPs. So again, fat tissue is a safe storage site for these toxins because it keeps them away from other vital organs like the brain, the heart, the arteries, etc. The second way that they're thought to cause weight gain is through affecting our metabolic health. They've been shown to disrupt weight controlling hormones and disrupt insulin sensitivity, but I think this is just the intelligent response from our body to turn on fat gain to safely store these toxins. Now, there is a lot of evidence to show that POPs cause weight gain, but just a few interesting points to highlight here is that POPs are found in fat biopsies. When we take fat directly from animals and humans, we can directly see these toxins. 2 is that weight loss raises blood POP levels in fasting or calorie restricted animals and humans. So as you lose weight and the fat breaks down, the toxins are released into the blood, and that can be measured directly. Animal studies have shown that POP directly given to animals induces obesity, and this one had really crazy results. I'll quote directly from the study: the overall weight gain effect of another pesticide, hexachlorobenzene, appeared to be so powerful that a group of treated animals still managed to gain significantly more weight despite the fact that their food intake was cut by 50% than untreated controls who were on full rations. This absolutely demolishes the calories in, calories out, weight gain story, because despite eating 50% less food than the normal diet, these animals given hexachlorobenzene, which is a toxic pesticide, gained a significant amount of weight. Additionally, many pharmaceuticals, which we know are loaded with these POPs, cause weight gain. Also, agriculture and animal farming companies have used these chemicals to their advantage and given them to animals to promote fat gain and make more weight. Now I'd like to talk about POPs and disease and chronic disease risk. Not only are these POPs related with weight gain and cause weight gain, but they are linked to chronic diseases like cancer, heart disease, etc. We also know that obesity is highly correlated with chronic disease. Being obese increases your risk of nearly all chronic diseases, but fat isn't necessarily harmful in and of itself. Obviously, the more fat you have, the more toxins you're exposed to and you have inside your body. And I think it's these toxins that are actually increasing your risk of chronic disease with obesity. Because once fat reaches the sort of storage limit or maxes out its capacity to hold these toxins, they will inevitably leak into the bloodstream and migrate to other potentially very important organs like the brain, heart, and arteries. Also, fat loss releases these chemicals into the bloodstream and can cause problems and cleansing reactions. So to summarize so far, these persistent organic pollutants, or POPs, are lipophilic, fat-loving toxins that store in fat tissue and biomagnify up the food chain. They're very resistant to degradation and persist in the environment even after discontinued use. We're exposed to them in our food, in our water, in our clothing, in our personal care products. These POPs are almost everywhere in our environment. Our body stores them in our fat tissue to protect our vital organs. Extreme obesity and weight loss releases these toxins into the bloodstream, potentially damaging other vital organs and increasing your risk of chronic disease or leading to unpleasant cleansing reactions. So now that we know the real cause of our obesity epidemic and how dangerous these chemicals can be, the important question is, how can we remedy it and safely lose weight? So there's two goals to the remedy. One is that you want to reduce exposure to any more of these toxins in the future. And two is to eliminate the stored toxins safely from your body. So step one, decrease current and future exposure. Considering our diet is probably the biggest source of these chemicals, it's absolutely essential that you eat clean. I recommend avoiding all seed oils, processed food, and even non-organic produce. Try to eat organic, pasture-raised meats and wild-caught seafood if you can. My rule is that if it didn't exist 100 years ago, avoid it. Next is to clean up your lifestyle. I recommend switching to natural clothing and furniture. Buy clean beauty and hygiene products. Use an air purifier indoors. Use clean cookware. Drink clean water. This is absolutely essential. I recommend distilled or reverse osmosis if you don't have access to a clean natural spring. And finally, do not take any pharmaceuticals. And if you're currently on a pharmaceutical, I recommend working with a natural healer to help you get off of it. Second, encourage detox and elimination of what you already have stored. So there's three main ways you can go about cleansing and detox. One is cleansing diets, two is healing solvents, and three is removal therapies. And I think it's crucial to incorporate all three of these things. So good cleansing diets are things like elimination diets like carnivore, BBBE. Also, whole foods, plant-based, grain-free diets have been shown to be good for cleansing. Any diet where you're going to be avoiding anything processed in a package and only eating whole foods from the environment is going to set your body up for success. Low carb diets in particular are really good for fat loss, and this can be great for dissolving fat and releasing these toxins for your body to eliminate, but this can often lead to cleansing reactions. So it's important to help your body remove them, which I'll get into in a sec. The next remedy or way you can help detox is with healing solvents. So the body is water-based, and it's really good at detoxing water-based or hydrophilic toxins. But since these toxins are hydrophobic, lipophilic, and in fat tissue, the body has a hard time breaking them down. So you can take healing solvents, which actually dissolve these lipophilic toxins out of fat tissue and other tissue and make them easier for your body to handle. So I can't talk too much about these healing solvents because YouTube would block this video, but a few examples are DMSO and other essential oils. Again, when you start taking any of these healing solvents and the lipophilic toxins dissolve out of fat and are ready for removal, your liver can get overworked and this can lead to a cleansing reaction. So the final way to help detox is through removal therapies. And this is crucial if you're starting any of the other two, or else you'll have a bad cleansing reaction. So removal therapies, I think the best is a enema, either coffee or just simple distilled water. Using coffee in an enema provides the added benefit of helpful compounds that help heal the liver. Also, the caffeine stimulates bioflow, which is great for detox and removal. Other natural ways to stimulate bowel movements are with herbal laxatives. Personally, senna has been very effective. And I know many people that use senna for really good detox and removal. Cascara is another one. Also, you can use castor oil. Don't take it too much though, because this is toxic, but really good for removal. I also recommend taking binders regularly during any detox protocol. The best I've found is zeolite, clinoptilolite, which I take personally. It seems to be better than bentonite clay and activated charcoal. When you're doing any of these three, cleansing diets, healing solvents, and removal therapies, it's important to also support your liver, because obviously your liver is your main detox organ. When a lot of these toxins are released and go to your liver for detox and elimination, your liver can easily get overworked. So it's important to provide all the nutrients that your liver needs, and this can be done by just simply eating meat and maybe a little bit of liver. Also, things like milk thistle and NAC have been shown to be very effective at helping heal and support the liver. Personally, I use milk thistle. It's a natural herb, which I prefer, obviously, but NAC has also been shown to be effective. So I know this is a lot of remedies to help you detox, and it may seem like a little bit overwhelming. So it's important, if you're new to natural healing, to start very slow. Also, if you have a high toxin burden, jumping into any of these too quickly can lead to unpleasant cleansing reactions, which I've experienced myself. But as you get comfortable with natural healing, detox, and these remedies, and you're feeling like you are in a better place with your health, and maybe you have lower toxins, then you can try more advanced protocols, which I discuss more in my blog post online, because I can't talk about them on YouTube. A couple important take-home points here is that obesity is not laziness. I don't think the majority of people are overweight because they eat too much and they move too little. The data just doesn't support that. I think we're being chronically poisoned, and our body is just doing the best it can to protect us and keep up. Following conventional weight loss advice will set you up for failure. Now, can eating less and moving more lead to weight loss? Sure, it absolutely can. But is it optimal? No. I don't think severely restricting your calories is a good idea for obese people, particularly because they're likely already eating a lot of processed food and nutrient deprived. Restricting calories in this state can push them deeper into nutrient deficiencies and often leads to weight rebounds. And sometimes people gain back more weight than they even lost. As I always like to say, our body is incredibly intelligent. When you're healthy and eating the right foods, your satiety and hunger signals should be working perfectly, and you should not have to count calories and restrict yourself. During proper cleansing and weight loss, I think you should be able to eat till you're completely full and still lose weight. And that's been my experience. Before I understood the role that toxins play in weight gain and fat storage, I tried calorie restriction, and it was not effective. Once I understood this role and started aggressive detox, the excess weight I had started to effortlessly come off without having to control what I was eating. And the benefit of doing these detox and cleansing remedies is that not only will it help you lose weight, but it will reduce our toxic burden and lower our risk of chronic diseases and improve our health across the board. The bottom line is that we live in a toxic world, and it's time we realize the profound implications it's having on our health and physiology.